All right, if you're watching this video, macOS Sonoma has officially been released. It's available to download on your Mac right now. So for this video, I want to go over some of my favorite tips and tricks for macOS Sonoma, as well as go over some new features, because I actually think this is a pretty exciting release for consumers, and there's a lot to like here, especially visually. And that all starts off with the new lock screen on macOS Sonoma. So you can now see that on the top, you have the date, and the time displayed right there. It looks really nice, kind of very similar to the iPhone lock screen. And you even have your profile picture down on the bottom, completely redesigned. Very nice. You can also see one of my favorite new features here is these new lock screen wallpapers. And this actually borrows from the Apple TV with their Aerial screensaver wallpapers. So you can see we have the New York City skyline on my Mac, and it is animating through. It is flying over New York City, and it is so visually stunning to look at this on your lock screen. Now, the really cool part is too, you're gonna see I'm gonna put my Touch ID password in, and as soon as we go into the desktop view, this actually saves the wallpaper. So it's no longer moving, but it becomes your wallpaper as you exit out of the lock screen, which I think is a really nice touch. And there's a lot of options here for this new wallpaper. So if you want to change it up, just click the Apple logo in the top left over here and go to System Settings. Then you're going to scroll down and hit Wallpaper. And you're gonna see now you have these new options. So of course you could go ahead and select, the normal wallpapers that are on macOS Sonoma. You still have that option. But as you scroll down, you're gonna notice there's a lot of options here with these new aerial wallpapers. So you can see you can get a landscape one. This is the Sonoma Horizon. Now, most of these you do have to go and download, so we're not gonna do that, but you can kind of just see all the options here that you can get with the landscape, with the cityscape, underwater scenes, earth scenes, or if you like a lot of these like I do, you can even shuffle them down here as well. And as we switch between them, you can see it becomes my desktop wallpaper, but then if I go ahead and lock the screen, we're gonna see that this animates as well. So all of these have flyover views that animate. Again, these just look really, really nice. I don't know if I can go back to a regular static wallpaper on my Mac at this point, because look at this. Oh, this is the one of Earth and you're flying over it. These look so nice. And then again, when you log in, it's gonna play out a little bit, and then eventually it's gonna freeze frame, and that becomes your wallpaper. Really cool. All right, now another new visual feature in macOS Sonoma is the addition of widgets. Now the Mac has had widgets for quite a while, and Apple's actually had widgets and then gotten rid of widgets, had its own widget view, and now they're actually letting you put widgets directly on the desktop. So this is a pretty new visual distinction for macOS Sonoma. Now to add these widgets, all you have to do is go over and click the time in the top right. You're gonna see an area to edit widgets, just hit edit widgets. Your new widgets is gonna pop up here on the bottom, and you can scroll through and see that there's actually a pretty decent selection of these widgets. Now you might be wondering, okay, why is there such a big selection for widgets on macOS? And that is because you can now load widgets too directly from your iPhone. You can actually see I just set this up with my iPhone, so these widgets are still loading in. But yeah, you can get your iPhone widgets and connect that directly to your Mac, which is cool. But let's go ahead and start using some macOS widgets. One of those I would like to use is weather. So you can click on weather and you can see all the different views that you have here. I like a big weather forecast on the Mac. There's a lot of screen to work with here. So you can just hit plus, right? And it adds the widget there. But you can also kind of just drag and drop these widgets too. And you can kind of put them wherever you want. So you can see I can move this here and I can pretty much put them anywhere on the screen. But if you do have a widget like over here and you start to maybe push them against the icons, you can actually see they auto rearrange. So if you have desktop icons on your desktop, you move the widget around, they'll kind of snap to it. And then if you also move them closer to the other widgets, Apple will make an attempt to kind of snap them close together so they look nice and neat. Now you may want to change some of the settings to how these widgets display, because let me show you something. If I open up Safari, you're going to notice that the widgets kind of gray out. Now I think this is pretty helpful because these widgets do show information. They're pretty colorful. So if you click on here, you can now see that your windows are automatically going to hide, and then you can see the widgets. So it's actually a pretty nice way to keep everything organized. Let's open up another app. We'll just open up the App Store real quick. And you can see as I press on the desktop, as I click on the desktop, it's gonna auto hide the app so you can quickly access your desktop icons, but then also quickly access the widgets as well. But you may wanna change these settings, right? So to do this, you're gonna wanna click the apple on the top left, you're gonna wanna go to System Settings, you're gonna wanna scroll down and hit Desktop and Dock, and then scroll down to this widgets area. So you're gonna see you have options here now. You can actually choose if you even want to display widgets on the desktop. Maybe you don't like widgets, you can click that off. Or maybe you only want them when you're in the Stage Manager view. And again, if you want to access Stage Manager, you click on Control Center, hit Stage Manager. It kind of organizes your windows so you can make little spaces for your apps. Some people find this pretty helpful for organizing them, but you'll see that the widgets pop up now only in the Stage Manager view. And then if you want to, switch back to traditional desktop mode, just turn off Stage Manager and the widgets will disappear too. There are ways to customize this, right? You might also want to do the style of the widgets. So maybe you don't like that they're in full color. You can actually make them monochrome as well. So you go back here, and no matter what, even if you click this off, they're gonna kind of be like this muted monochrome color with that transparency effect. So they're really not gonna be distracting in the background as you're using your applications. I do like them in the color though. I like the system the way they have it. And you can even toggle if you want to use iPhone widgets. You can actually select which widgets you want your iPhone to load from if you're a freak like me and have multiple iPhones. And you do have some control here to how widgets are displayed. Now, while we're in Safari, I want to show you some new tips here too. And that is how to set up custom profiles on Safari. So while you're in Safari, hit the Safari tab in the top left, and then just go to Settings. You're gonna see your Safari settings pop up here. And then what you're gonna wanna do is go to this new area called Profiles. Click on that, and then you're gonna see it gives you an explanation that you can actually make separate Safari profiles depending on what you're doing. So if you have a personal one, a work one, a school one with all your assignments open, right? Maybe you don't wanna mix those up, you wanna keep them separate. Well, you can actually start doing that. You can even customize the home screen pages on Safari as well. So just hit Start Using Profiles, and you're gonna see, it's gonna automatically pop up so you can start naming one. I'm not in school anymore, but we're gonna make a Greg's Gadgets one for work, or I have to open up all these videos and articles for research, right? And then we're gonna make the color, let's do blue. And we are gonna create a new bookmarks folder too. So we're gonna hit that. You're gonna see, now I have an entirely separate profile here for Greg's Gadgets. So if I do some research, gotta read a Verge article, gotta go on 9 to 5 Mac, read the latest rumors, that's gonna stay in the work field. And now if you wanna go to your personal profile in Safari, well, you just go to File and go to New Personal window, and then that's gonna open that up in the personal section. Now, I don't wanna go to 9 to 5 Mac, I wanna have fun. I wanna go to apple.com, buy a new iPhone. Wait a minute, Apple's kinda work for me too. Okay, so it's a strange situation. I don't know when I'm having fun in Safari now because work's so tied up with everything that I like, but yeah. This is basically a way, you get the point, right? This is basically a way to customize and organize your profile settings in Safari. And you can set as many of these as you like, and you can have all these different profiles now for your Safari browsing. There's another cool change in Safari now with private browsing. So this is something you use when you don't want the history saved on your computer. Maybe you're buying a gift for someone, you don't want them to know that you were buying them a gift. So you open up a private window, and now you're in private browsing. So let's go to Amazon.com. Let's make it really personal. We're gonna look for engagement rings. We don't want someone to know we're buying them an engagement ring. Let me know if you ever bought an engagement ring on Amazon. But basically, maybe someone comes over and uses your computer. You don't want them to know you're researching engagement rings. Now with private browsing in Safari, this can actually auto lock, and you'll need Touch ID or your password to reopen this. So let's go ahead and lock our screen. It's locked. All right, we're coming back into the computer. We go in and look, the private browsing is locked. And this will actually auto lock over time too. So if you walk away from your computer, I'm not sure exactly when it auto locks, but eventually when you're inactive, it will auto lock the private browsing tab. And now you either need your password or Touch ID to get in. So if you let someone use your computer, you don't want them to know what you're looking at in private browsing, well, now they can. And then you're gonna need to either put in your Touch ID or your password. You unlock it, and then your tab reappears. Now, if this isn't enabled for you or you don't like this feature and you want to disable it, all you have to do is go to Safari, click on Safari, then click on Settings. Then you're going to click over here on Privacy, and you'll see in private browsing, you're going to have the option to require Touch ID to view locked tabs. If you don't want that, click that off. You're obviously going to have to enter your password. If you want it, click it on, and then you have it. And while we're in Safari, let me show you now how to turn any web page into a web app. So this one's pretty cool. So, maybe you want to use YouTube as an app instead of constantly opening it in the browser. To do this, you have to open up the page you want in Safari, right? Click the share sheet in the top right, scroll down, and you're gonna see a new thing called Add to Dock. Hit Add to Dock, and it's gonna ask you how you wanna call this. Just hit Add, And now you're gonna see that YouTube saves down here in the dock. Now watch what happens when we open YouTube here. You're gonna see it opens up, and basically, this is not a Safari window. It does not look like Safari window. If you actually look in the top left here, it just says YouTube. If you go into settings and stuff, it doesn't have the Safari settings. It just has like these YouTube settings. And this is basically a web app that is now saved on your desktop, on your Mac, which is cool. So if you go ahead and click into a video over here, you can see that, yeah, we basically have a little nice YouTube player. That is an app. Another great change in macOS Sonoma is what they've done to the Photos app with a new Peoples and Pets section. So they've always had the People section here, but this can now recognize pets as well, so you can name your pets and then search for them. So to do this, just open up Photos like I have here, click on People and Pets on the left sidebar. You're gonna see all the people pop up over here, but we're more interested in the Pets feature. So let's actually go down and scroll all the way down. And here you're gonna see some of my pets over here. So this is my dog. We're gonna give him his name, Kiki. We're gonna hit that and save it. We got a cat over here. This is Irvington. Gonna hit that and save it. We got a dog over here. His name is Obi. That is Obi. We're gonna hit save. If you can't tell, I'm an animal lover, so I really love this feature in Photos. And then when you go to search for the pet, you can see that all the photos of that pet is gonna pop up. So now you can see all the cat photos in your Photos library. All right, this next trick has to do with reminders on macOS Sonoma, and that is the ability to automatically categorize things. So this one's really cool. So open up Reminders. Then in Reminders, go ahead and hit Add List on the bottom left. Now you're gonna see, you have your standard list over here, but you're actually gonna click into this, and you're gonna go to Smart List. Now with Smart List, this one's complicated, right? Like you have to add like a bunch of tags, date, time, priority. It's pretty in-depth. Like there's a lot of categorization here that you can do to kind of get this feature I'm gonna show you, but if you really wanna test this out, just hit cancel real quick, go back to add list, and then hit the groceries list. This one is gonna automatically do it for you. Now we have the shopping list. Now we're gonna start adding items, right? So I'm gonna put milk. And you're gonna see, look at that. It adds it to dairy, eggs, and cheese. You know what, I gotta get paper towels though too. So we're gonna add that. Oh look, I put it in the wrong section. It's actually recommending I move it to the household items section, okay. Well, let's go ahead and add a list that isn't in the dairies, eggs, and cheese list now. You know what, I do need to pick up some water while I'm out there. Oh, that's adding it to beverages. Let's get some Coke. Well, that's adding it to beverages too. And you know what? Gonna need some crackers with the cheese. That's snacks and candy. Ooh, candy. What do I want? I want some chocolate. And that's gonna add it to candy too. We gotta get some chicken for some protein. It's gonna add it to meat. So I think you get the point here, right? As you start adding these items, the shopping list feature in Reminders is able to automatically categorize it now, and it's pretty smart at doing it, as you can see. All right, another trick I gotta cover is what Apple did to FaceTime in macOS Sonoma. So you do actually get the new reactions that are also available on the iPhone. So to quickly go over that, right? You can make like a heart shape, and you're gonna see hearts start coming out. You could give a double thumbs up, and fireworks are gonna start playing, right? You could do a double thumbs down. It's sad, it's stormy weather. And then you give a thumbs up, you get a nice little thumbs up. You give a thumbs down, a nice little thumbs down thing is gonna appear. There you go. So you can kind of see those are the reactions in FaceTime. That works on Mac and that works on iPhone and iPad as well. So you can use that anywhere. That's really cool. But the thing that's exclusive to the Mac, which I think is even kind of cooler, is this new presenter mode. So to do this, you're gonna see this new icon in the bottom left over here. All you have to do is click on that, and that is going to bring up this new presenter mode. And you can kind of see, you can turn it off, you can share a small window or a large window. So we're gonna select a window to share, and we're gonna pick this one over here. But you can see in this little window over here, I am here in the presenter. I'm like in this little like bubble. And if I hit large, well, I'm gonna become larger. It's actually gonna appear behind me now, and you can see the Apple website behind me. So you can see the window behind me is the Apple website, And we can go over the iPhone lineup. I can tell you what's the best iPhone to get. Look at this, iPhone 15 Pro, $1,000, iPhone 15, $799. Which one should you get? We could do the comparisons, and you can see behind me as I'm presenting this, I can tell you that the iPhone 15 Pro has the A17 Pro chip. I can tell you the iPhone 15 has an A16 chip. You're gonna get 10 times optical zoom range, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? So you have USB-C 3.0 on the iPhone 15 Pro and only 2.0 on this. So maybe I should start doing my YouTube videos like this where I have this overlay in the background. But you can kind of see it blends in the background. I can move my arm around. It's pretty good at detecting that it's there. And you can, if you go into the small mode again, you really wanna show this screen, get some really dense information, let people know what you're talking about. You can do that. Another thing you have to try out in macOS Sonoma is the updates they've made to AirPods auto switching. So if you used this feature before, I thought it was actually pretty lackluster. A lot of the times, especially on the Mac, the auto switching just wouldn't work. Like if you started on your Mac and then went to your iPhone, the switching would work fine. But if you started on your iPhone and then went to the Mac, it would just kind of like ignore it. So this one's really cool. It's helped out the feature a lot. So let's go ahead and play some music on my iPhone. So we're playing that on the iPhone, right? And we're just gonna go ahead and hit something on the Mac over here. We're gonna play this podcast, and look at that. It's done, it just connected, and it's playing on my AirPods. I know you can't hear it, but we're gonna go ahead and hit the music again over here. It's now playing on my iPhone, but I wanna listen to this podcast again. It's so interesting. So you hit play again, and you can see it automatically connected. It's playing on my AirPods, no problem. Apple basically fixed the auto switching in macOS Sonoma, and it now works pretty much flawlessly the entire time. So if you own a pair of AirPods and you've used this feature in the past and kind of like disabled it, go try it again because it's pretty much perfect at this point. All right, my last tip is for Mac gamers. Yes, I know there are dozens of Mac gamers out there that play games on their Mac. But this new feature in macOS Sonoma is actually game mode, which is gonna prioritize the game running. So it's gonna pretty much put all system resources like CPU and GPU, kind of cancel out background tasks that your Mac usually runs when you're playing a game to eke out even more performance. And this all happens automatically, so all you have to do is really just open up a game. We're gonna open up StarCraft 1. That really needs game mode. And you can see as you launch the game mode on is right there in the top right. Lets you know that the game is gonna be prioritized for the system resources, and that's basically it. You don't have to enable any settings. You just have to make sure that the game is in full screen mode. If it is in window mode, apparently it won't use this game mode, and you should be able to get more performance out of the game. As I'm going through the Protoss campaign in StarCraft 1, you can see these advanced graphics that are only capable on macOS. This is probably the most graphically intensive game you will ever see in your life. You remember Crysis? That's got nothing compared to StarCraft 1 remastered in 4K on the Mac. This is just the most realistic, lifelike game that I have ever played in my entire life. And I've played a lot of games, so you can trust exactly what I'm saying here. All right, but those are my tips and tricks for macOS Sonoma. Please let me know what your favorite one was in the comments below. And as always, if you like the video, make sure you give me a like. If you want to see more, make sure you're subscribed. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.